Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the OCP, the Original Copycats podcast. You join me today on a Thursday, but it's not any old Thursday. Oh, no. Today is the 22nd, and that means that there are only 3 sleeps left until Father Christmas comes down your chimney or kicks your door in or whatever. But not in Iceland. Instead of Oh my God. Instead of Santa, that's meant to say, but it says instead of Sanat. Little typo there. Instead of Santa breaking and entering this Christmas, you have the Yule Lads to contend with. And today's Yule Lad is a bit of a bizarre one. I say that like the rest of them have been in any way normal. So let's get into it, shall we? Introducing the 11th. You awoke to the sound of birds. A happy chirping from outside. You slowly open your eyes as the sunlight dances across your face. You had obviously forgotten to close your curtains last night. You arose from your bed and stretched. You'd had the strangest of dreams. Almost a nightmare. A Yule Lad had entered your house, as was the norm as of late. But this one looked like your mother, and kept asking you to accompany her back to the mountains to meet her mother, Grilla. You'd never heard of Grilla. Well, as long as she ain't some sort of cannibalistic ogre / giantess / witch that lures kids back into a lair to boil them up in a stew, you said in jest. Nah, she's all right, your Yule Lad mother replied, and so off you went. You arrived at the mountain home, whereupon you were met with the sight of the ugliest woman you'd ever seen, stirring a massive cauldron-type pot. All of the Yule Lads gathered round, teeth bared and saliva drooling from their mouths as they all eyed you up. Come now, dearie. The pot's just right, Grilla said with a wicked smile. Then you awoke. So what had happened last night, you wondered? You had searched the house from top to bottom in preparation for any Yule Lads, but had found nothing. Was that it? Was it finally over? There was only one person that might know the answer. You wander into your mother's room to find her sat in bed, crocheting a rather long scarf. Hey, Mum, you say as you enter. Hey, love, she says, not looking up from her crochet. Sorry, I don't want to lose count. She finished the row she was on and placed the scarf down on her lap. What's up? She asked. It's about the Yule Lads, you say, sitting yourself down on the bed beside her. What have they done now? Well, that's just it. Nothing, it seems. Oh, she replied, a look of slight confusion on her face. I think they might have stopped, you say with a hint of hopefulness. I hate to burst your bubble, but they're supposed to come on the 13 nights leading up to Christmas. You couldn't help but think this would have been useful information to know earlier on, and would have perhaps saved some potential unaddressed trauma down the line, not only for you, but for Doris the cow too. So there's more, you ask. Should be. Which ones have you encountered so far? She asks. You spend a moment telling your mother about all the Yule Lads that have visited. So that should leave 3 then? I can't remember which order they come in, but I think it was Doorway Sniffer next, she says. Sorry? You say, confused. Yeah, you heard that right, your mother confirmed, nodding. Does he literally just sniff doorways? You ask. Maybe. I can't really remember, she says, picking her crochet back up and resuming. You leave the room. For the rest of the day, you ponder over what doorway sniffer would do. Would it even be him? You'd agreed previously to help your mother with some leaf bread, a traditional Icelandic bread, also known as snowflake bread due to the snowflake-like pattern in the bread itself. You were enjoying yourself in the kitchen, making a mess with the flour. It was everywhere. The bread was left to cook, and you just knew that it was going to be delicious. Eventually, night began to fall, and you waited in the living room, patiently, with your mother and father. Your father was particularly intrigued to see the Yule Lad. Having only really seen Skyr Gobbler molesting a yoghurt, he was originally from the UK and was brought up believing in some guy in a red suit and his flying moose or something. You'd never really paid attention. So, how long do these things usually take to arrive? Your dad asked. Shh, you both reply in unison. I was just wondering because I've got an early start tomorrow and it's getting on a bit. But then, you heard it. Instantly, your father stands up, but you gesture for him to sit back down as you make your way towards the living room light. You click it off. You are now sat in total darkness with the sniffage of door sniffer going on outside. What are we all waiting for exactly? I wanted to see this thing, not just sit here in the dark and listen, your dad says in a loud whisper. You don't know what they're like, Dad. Some of them can be a bit nasty. You remember the one that attacked Mum, right? And the one that knocked me out? Oh, yeah, right, he said. You all sit there for what felt like an age, until finally your father could take it no longer. This is ridiculous, he says, standing up with some force. He's been outside sniffing for ages. What's he smelling for? He walks over to the door and opens it. Dad, no! You shout, but it was too late. He clicks on the living room light to reveal the Yule Lad standing there with his abnormally large nose raised in the air. Hello, your dad says, staring the Yule Lad in its nostrils. What do you want? He asks. Leaf bread, mate, the Yule Lad says. It was the first time you'd heard one of them speak. Could they speak? Alex hadn't found anything that stated they didn't, so you decided it was part of the story and continue. Did he say leaf bread? Your mother asks. I think so, your dad says, somewhat stunned by the sheer size of the lad's nose. I'll get you some, she says, and wanders past him into the kitchen. All the while, the Yule Lad sniffs the air around the kitchen doorway. The leaf bread was done, and was nice and warm, perfect for eating. You follow your mother out into the kitchen, where she tears the leaf bread into 4 equal chunks and hands them out to each of you. Doorway Sniffer takes the chunk of bread. Cheers, love, it says as it stuffs it in its mouth instantly. It sniffed the air one last time, and with that, turned around and left as quickly as it had arrived. Your dad finishes his leaf bread and turns to face you both. What the hell is going on? So that was Doorway Sniffer, the large-nosed Yule Lad that has a craving for leaf bread. Which, by the way, if you've never seen this stuff, definitely go and search it because it looks awesome and I can definitely see why he likes it. But anyway, hopefully that was a little bit longer than yesterday's episode. Truth be told, I was in a bit of a rush to write and record the previous one, and I did fall asleep whilst editing. So that was why the music just kept going in the last one. I should have fixed that by now. If I haven't, I apologize. But yeah, so I'm hoping this one was a bit better for you. But yeah, anyway, if you've enjoyed this, please go and leave us a 72-star review on Spotify and spread us around like the plague. I want to be everywhere. So join me again tomorrow for the penultimate episode of the Yule Lads, episode 12 of 13. Ooh, nearly there, guys. Nearly there. And it can all be over and we can rest and have a good Christmas. Oh, I yearn for the day. Right, enjoy the evening or whatever. Bye. And today's Yule Lad is a bit of fuck's sake. You awoke to the sound of birds. Birds. Well, as long as she ain't some sort of cannibalistic ogre giantess wish. What? Witch. Well, as long as she ain't some sort. Fuck. Well, as long as she ain't. Oh, guys. I'm having a stroke or something. Well, as long as she ain't sort of. Oh my god. What the fuck? It's literally written down in front of me. Just fucking read it. Well, as long as she ain't some sort of cannibalistic ogre / giantess or a witch that lures kids back into her lair to boil them up in a... Oh, fuck you and your fucking horse, man. Nah, she's alright. Your mule. Not you. Fuck. You wander into your mother's room to find her sat in bed, crocheting a long scarf. She finishes the row she was on and placed the scarf. It's about the Yule Lads, you say, sitting yourself down on the bed. I think they might have stopped, you say with a hint of hopefulness. I hate what the fuck? I hate to burst your bubble. No, it sounds too happy now. You couldn't help but think that this would have been useful information to know earlier on, and would have perhaps... What? Would have perhaps... That's not a word. Your father was particularly intrigued to see the Yule... Your father was particularly intrigued to see the Yule Lad, having only ever... Your father was particularly intrigued to see the Yule Lad, having only ever seen... No. Fuck a duck. Leaf bread, mate, the Yule Lad says. Why is he cockney? So stupid. Try again. No, I can't. Come on, Alex. Composure.